Hi everyone and welcome on my session. Today I'm going to present you what all you can do with alerts. I'm Miha Vuk and I'm a software architect at Docentric. We are specialized in providing technology to enhance document report customization and document output management in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Besides that, we are also filling other gaps in finance and operations, and alerts are one of them. Alerts, or more general notifications, can help you to be informed about important events. In F&O, it means data changes and dates that are near or past due and are important for you. Notifications are not just for you, but also for your teammates, partners, and other applications. So, I remember in AX 2009 and 2012, alerts were one of the solid core functionalities. It was a big surprise and a big gap that it was missing in the first version of Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. In the next year, Microsoft has gradually returned the feature, but they have changed the behavior several times. For example, email support was missing, then it was added, removed, and added back in a new way. It's still a lot of mess and misunderstanding in the community, and people do not yet use the alerts as much as they should for their productivity. The aim of this session is to do one step in this direction. Today, I will show you how to use alerts, standard features, and what more can be done with small customizations. Some of them are already in use. Some of them were developed just for this session and will probably come in regular use. So briefly, standard alerts supports change-based alerts and due date alerts. They work on filtered view, on form main data source. Subgrids are not supported. They support basic email notifications and basic events for integrations. With customizations, we have simplified the creation of field-based alert rules. We show the user some missing data, richer dynamic email notifications. You can notify more users with just one rule, or get one summary email for several notifications. So let's see that in practice. We will show the alerts functionality on some commonly used forms and data, like sales orders, purchase orders, and similar. So on every form, or almost every form, you have here in the options menu the create alerts and manage my alerts menu items. So if we click on the create a custom alert on a sales order list page, we can select here the tables that are shown on the form and the fields that are visible on the form and the events. So if the field is not selected, you can select just the create new record or delete new record event. If the field is selected, then you have more options. So that's on a sales table list page. If we go on a sales table details, okay. Here on a sales table details form, that's actually another form. Here we see more tables. These are, if we look at it technically, these are all data sources on a sales table form. And in the create alerts form, show us just the main data source and the data sources that are directly joined to the main data source. So it means with inner join or outer join, or the data sources that are reference data sources. So that's what we see here, but we don't see sales order lines and other subgrids. They're just not here. Okay, what we typically want is not to filter, is not to be alerted about all records, but we want to make some condition. We want to make some filter on the records and then create an alert. Okay, so let's say that we want, for example, to be alerted about new sales order just for one specific customer. Let's say it's just, so for that we have to filter the form first and then create a record. Okay, we have here the right table, field is not relevant, and let's make an alert when a new record is created. And that's it. And let's see what else we can do with the so here we can select if it is if this rule is just for this company or for all companies. Here we can select if there is some time limitation, and here we see what we will see. Here we define what we will see in the notification. Here in the message, it's good that we provide some context. So it is actually a new sales order for our specific customer 1. So this is something that we should write in the message. Okay, let's run it. And now let's create a new sales order. Let's create one sales order for customer 1. And another sales order for customer 2. Okay, so far nothing happened because alerts are processed asynchronously and we have to run some job to process the alerts. So far we have everything that we see here, that two records were created in event create update delete table, and the database log, this works with the database log system. So, and these are the records that will be processed by this alerts processing job. So let's go and let's run the job. We have two jobs. One is for change-based alerts. The other one is for due-based alerts. The one we typically run these jobs in as a periodic batch job, and I would suggest to run change-based alerts for every couple of minutes, every minute or every couple of minutes, and due-based alerts every day or a couple of times a day. I've made a small customization so that we can also run it without batch job. That's very convenient for testing. Okay, let's run it. And we have received a notification just for the sales order for customer 1. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay, if we here's a link that should lead us to this order, but it's not always working. So this is a small flow. Okay, let's go on with the next use case. Let's reload the page to clear the filter. Let's say that we want to be alerted when some delivery dates are changed on an order that's already delivered. So let's filter first to get just the delivered orders. And now let's go on one. And here on the header, we have okay, not for dates. We will first show the change on the delivery terms, and then later on the delivery dates. So I've made a small customization that we can start the creation of order directly for the forum control from the forum field. So I added create alert button here. So that we do not have to search it in the lookup. That can contain a long list of lines. Okay, and good. So that's okay. That's okay. That is just a warning. Okay, I forgot. Now we see both alerts here under Manage My Alerts. I forgot to add here to send email, and let's do it now. Delivery term has changed. Okay, let's save it. And now let's go back. And let's do one change on one delivered order and one non-delivered. Okay. Now let's select some other order. That one is already invoiced, but that's okay for the demo. Good. And let's run our job to process the alerts. Good. Okay, that's an old one, and that's strange. But this is the notification that we were looking for, and something is not okay with email. I should receive the email. Ok, zdaj snimam naprej in bom ponovno zagnal job. Okay, let's run our job. Good. And beside the notification in the action pane that we will receive, we have also received the email. That's a standard email that has just the message and the link. That should lead us directly to the order, but it's also not working. Okay. Good. Let's now make something more complicated. We will show how to use alerts notifications on a typical forms like sales order, purchase orders, and similars. On every form here in the Options tab, we have Create Custom Alert and Manage My Alerts menu item. It shows the tables that are forums main, and the fields that are visible on the form on the top level. And if the field is not selected, you can create an alert for a new record or for deleted record. If the field is selected, you can have more options also. Good. That was the sales table list page. if we go on some sales tables details page, you have more options, and okay, I mean, you see more tables because this is a more detailed form and shows more data. Here you can see just the forum's main data source and the data sources that are directly joined to the forum's main data source. So if I look at in a developer's view, it means that's the main data source. Some of them are directly joined with inner and outer join, and these are the reference data sources that are also directly joined. Okay, but here we don't see the sales order lines and other data sources that are for the subgrids. Good. Typically, we want to make an alert rule on some conditional set of data. So let's say that we want to be notified when a new sales order for the customer 1 is created. For that purpose, we have to filter the data on the form and then create an alert rule. Okay, that's okay. When a record will be created, it means just when the record for this that match this condition will be created. Here we can select if the rule is just for this company or for all companies. Here we can select if there is any time limit, and that's it. The subject and the message will be shown in the notification, and if we are working on a filtered data set, then it's very convenient that to describe this in a message. So new sales order for customer 1. That's it. Good. And now let's create a few orders. Let's create one order for customer 1. And one order for customer 2. And that's it. So far nothing happened. But these changes that are relevant for the alerts have been written in a table called event create update delete for the database log system. And just when we run the alerts processing job, they will be processed and the relevant and the notifications will be triggered for the changes that are really relevant. So we have two alerts processing jobs. One is for change-based alerts, and that should run periodically every minute or a couple of minutes. And for due date alerts, that should run every day or a couple of times a day. Okay. Typically, so it runs as a periodic batch job, but with the small customizations, I have enabled that we can also run it without batch job. That's very convenient for testing. Okay. So we have received the new notification, and that is just for the order that has matched our filter. Good. Now let's make something more. Okay, let's clear it and make something a bit more complicated. Let's say that we want to be notified when delivery terms are changed on the delivered orders. So we have to filter the orders first to get just the delivered ones. And then I've made a small customization that we don't have to look for the long list of fields on the create alert dialog, but we can directly start from the field. So I added the create alert button here. So the field is already selected. We can select if we want to be notified about the changes or just the change to specific value. We can decide if we want that the rule is applicable for all records that apply that match the filter, or just for that specific record. And the other options we already know. Okay. Let's write a message. Okay, and let's enable also the send email. So we will also, beside the notification in the action pane, we will also get an email notification. That's just a warning. And now let's make a few changes. Let's change this delivery terms for one or the delivered order. Okay, now let's change it also for one non-delivered one. So that's just a warning that their order was already invoiced, but it's okay for the demo. Good. And now let's run our alert job. So we have immediately received the email notification just for the order that matches the filter, just for the delivered order. And if we click here, we should actually go directly to the sales order where the change has appeared, but there's a small bug, so it doesn't work. So this is a standard functionality that just doesn't work always when needed. So the notifications that we have seen are shown here in the Action Center. The Action Center shows the alert notifications, but also other notifications and printouts from the code that doesn't have a form context. So if we click here, see all, here we see just here we don't see the normal printout, but just the real notifications. But this is the new form, the new standard form, but it has just some basic fields, because it shows here many different notifications, not just alerts, also different system notifications. We can also use a legacy form, that's event alert inbox. It shows just the alerts and it shows more data about them. So you can see the details such as the old value, new value, and so on. If you go to the origin here, it's still frozen error. It's still a bug in the system. So I have written an improvement of this form. That implements a direct link. And you can directly jump to the sales order that has triggered the alert. So this is our sales order. Every alert that we have created on all forms are shown here in Manage My Alerts. So we can here we can see all the alerts parameters, and we can also change some of them. I've added a little bit more fast tab below, so that we can see some more details about alerts. And one of the important one is here the query. Even though the queries are typically quite complicated, at the end you can usually see the condition that you have done, and that's really relevant. So that's that's a longer query, but you can still see that was the filter, that condition filter just the delivered orders. Okay. Beside that form that shows just my alerts, you can there's also a form that shows all alerts. It's called alert rules. So it's used by admin, and so here we can see the alerts of all users. And when a user creates an alert, the user ID is always filled. You will notice here that there are also some alerts that doesn't have the user ID field, but these are just the standard alerts that are created from code. You cannot do such alert manually. And if you look at other fields, our alerts. So let's explain a little bit the fields below. These alert data refer to the alert table and the alert field and different relationship type. That's about the form where the alert rule was created, and this is about the type of alert, if it's create, update, delete, or due date. And that field is interesting. That means if the condition is for all filtered records, for just for the specific one, or but for these custom alert rules that are created just by code. Here you see here the field has this custom value. Okay, let's go on. Now let's go to see some due date alerts. Okay, let's say that we want to be, let's filter again just for the delivered orders. No, actually not that. That's another use case. Okay, let's make alert rule if the requested delivery date is tomorrow. So let's we want to be alerted for all orders that should be shipped tomorrow, so that we prepare on time. And we can select different for the date fields. We have more options, like if the date has been postponed, if it's due today, if it's due in a certain number of days in the futures or in the past. And we have set it so we will be notified when the due date will be tomorrow. Okay, and for shipping, so sales order should be shipped tomorrow. Good. And we want to make just one rule for several users, so not just for us, but that's also our customization. We also want to notify the whole sales team. So this is a user group that contains many users. And okay, beside the notification inside an FNO, we also want to notify with email some additional users. Let's say this sales demo, and we also want to notify the whole user group sales team. So for this we will use a placeholder This is called a placeholder. So that will be in the runtime, that will be replaced with the real email addresses of users from the sales team. Okay. We will use a more advanced way for sending emails based on email templates. So we will be able to use a different email template for different alerts. That's also our customization. And let's check how it looks. Okay. So if we go here on a template, we can even edit this template. Let's add some. We can add some dynamic content. That's also called placeholder. We can even add some images. So that was a simple improvement of our email alert email template. And good. And here we can also select if we want to send email synchronously, that's a normal way, or with email processing. It means that it will go to the outgoing email queue, and you have a forum batch email sending status where you can see this email, and when they will be sent, you will still be able to actually view and download them. And if there will be a failure while sending, you will be able to resend them, and also some other possible improvements in case that you can change the email addresses, send them again, and that kind of stuff. Okay, that's our alert rule. Now let's make some changes. And okay, we will. Let's change this date. Yes. So this date is set to today, and for the other order, we will set it to tomorrow. That's actually a rule condition. That's not tomorrow. Yeah. There's a logic that's not allowing me to change it to tomorrow. Okay, in that case, I will change I won't fight with this logic. I will just for the purpose of demo, I will just change the rule so that it will be applicable in 3 days. So, for the purpose of demo, it's completely okay. Good. And yeah, we also have to change the text. To be logical. And now let's go and run our due date alerts job. We have received an email, and this email also contains other recipients, and okay, all the dynamic placeholders were replaced with the real content. That's also the worker image and the reference to the here are the links to the order, and that's a link to the alert rule, for example. Okay, let's close it up a little bit. Good. Now let's go on. So that were the alerts on the on the header fields. But let's say that we also want to make some alerts when something is changed on the lines. For example, line quantity. In standard, you cannot create an alert on any subgrid, even the sales order lines. But with our customization, you actually can. But so that's okay, but that rule will be applied just for this sales order, because that subgrid actually has a filter that shows the records just for this sales order. And if that's exactly what you want, that's okay, but that's typically not the use case. So typically you want to be notified about the changes of sales order lines for the sales orders that match certain conditions. And there's the trick how to do that is to open a sales line table in a systable browser. So that's a standard form that user with sufficient privileges can open to directly access the tables, the database tables. And let's say that let's say that we want to be alerted about the changes on sales order line quantities just for the stopped sales order. So first we have to filter the sales order lines. Here we can go to advanced filter. And we have to add a join from order lines. We have to join other tables, other related tables. I've already added before. So this is the sales orders. So, and now let's go to the range. We can select the sales order here and the field that's relevant for us. So we will filter the sales lines just for the orders where do not process is yes. There are just a few of them. So now let's create a rule. How is it called? Sales quantity. Okay, that's the field. And okay, line quantity. Order. And okay, let's say that we have created this rule for user Arnie. Let's demonstrate this. Good. So now if we click on manage my rules, we will not see this rule. And now let's go to this stopped order, the yellow one, and change the quantity. To, let's say, back. That's fine. And run our change-based alerts job. Okay, that was an old subject, but no, these are all old notifications. So we have not received this notification, but actually the user Arnie has received this notification. Here user Arnie is also a member of a sales order team, sales team, and this is the notification that just the user Arnie has received, and this is also in a manage my rules. He will see that alert rule. So let's say that we have done this by mistake. So now let's go back to the here on a alerts rule form. The admin can see this rule and can change it back. Good. So that's it. Now let's go to some other form. For example, purchase order. And let's create a new alert rule. So let's here under recipients, and let's say that we just a simple rule when a purchase order is created, that we do not want to get individual email notifications, but we want several alerts to get as a one email, maybe once a day or once an hour, so not to be spammed too much. So, and for that purpose, we have added with customization this include the flag to include it in summary email. We also have to add here the list of recipients, and let's say that beside ourselves we also want to notify the sales team user group, and good, and that's it. Is there anything else? No, that's okay. And beside that, let's change also our existing delivery terms rule, not to send emails, but also to be included in a summary email. And okay, now let's make some changes that will trigger some alerts. First, create a few purchase orders. Okay, now let's go to sales order, and so I'm just doing some changes to trigger some alerts. Okay. Now let's run. We first have to run our change-based alerts job. Okay, that one will trigger the notifications here in the action pane, but the emails has not yet been sent. The email will be sent when sent alerts email summary job will run. That's our customization, and here we select the email template for the summary, and I would recommend to run it every maybe a couple of times a day, periodically. Okay, and we have received what happened actually? I'm sending the emails to the fake SMTP server that I can use to send the emails to several users. So each of the user, so myself and two of the users in the sales team, have received an individual email. What's the problem here? No, that's a technical problem of SMTP for that. But I wanted to show you that every user gets an individual email with their individual list of the alerts that were relevant just for him or her. So and all the links are again clickable, and he can then, if something is more interesting, then he can go back to FNO and check the details and all that. Good. Now let's show what we can do for integrations with other applications. So here, let's manage this. Let's manage this this alert. Let's disable it and enable send externally flag. It means that the business event will be created when alert notifications will be generated. So what are business events? Let's go to business event catalog. So business events are actually data structures. That's a well-defined data structure. These are the fields. There's a lot of standard business events, but for the alerts we have one for the change-based alerts and one for the due date alerts. And then we can, by default, nothing happens. But when we activate the one event, we can connect it to a certain endpoint. It's always per company. Okay. Here we select the endpoint that I've already created before. This is an endpoint that will put this business event in an Azure Blob Storage container that I have created. Good. Now we have our alert and alert rule, and let's go and create a new. Let's trigger a new alert. We still have to go to run our alert processing job. Okay, now the business event should be sent to the endpoint, and that endpoint is our Azure storage container. And let's see what this business event actually is. So this is a data structure. Technically, it's a JSON data structure that contains the data about this alert. And these are the data that we have already seen in other notifications, including so also the field, the message, the direct link to the order, and those details. So a record has been created in purchase orders. And you can you can then use it for different integrations. What I have done, I've created a simple logic apps that actually polls this container and create and post a Teams message based on it. So that's a simple example. We could also do something more complicated. So when a blob is added to that container, we take this blob, we parse the JSON to get the real data out, then we post the message in a Teams channel, and then delete this business event. Okay, normally it's scheduled to run every couple of seconds or a minute or minutes, but for the demo we will run it manually. Okay, it's already finished. Now we can examine every execution of this logic app. We can see the real data inside here. So that's our specific event. And let's open the Teams. It's not yet. And if we go to the channels, so we have just received the Teams message. So let's go back. So we could use, we could also use some more advanced development, something more advanced for the integration. For example, we could use Azure Communication Service to send an SMS. We could connect back to the FNO to get more data, to combine them, to create, to trigger some action in the FNO, or to use some other connectors to send this data to some other application. So that was it. No, good. So that was the demo, demonstrating the main functionality. So let's summarize what we have seen. We have shown change-based and due date alerts, how to filter records, the sys-table trick for lines and subgrids, action center, notification list, emails, standard emails, and business events for integrations. And when you need to know more about the changes, check the database log. With customizations, we have shown simpler alert creation and a better overview of alertable data, richer dynamic email templates based email notifications, how to notify additional users with just one alert rule, and how to get one email for several alerts. And for more complex scenarios, you can also use our API to do what you want. Some of these customizations are already a part of the Docentric free edition that you can install and use for free. Others will probably be there in next release. All that you have seen today are actually small customizations, so you can also ask your developers to do it. So that was all for today. For all questions, ideas, and discussions, feel free to reach me on the above address. Thanks for watching. Bye.